Now, I just want to, since I'm here, say I have, and this is, I explained yesterday or on Tuesday what a plot is, not the plot of your story, which is the essence of your story. I go so far off script, it's ridiculous, but I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying. One day I'll look at a note, okay? But so we have our conflict, and this is what I want you to understand about plot. Plotting your way through your story. Your plot is as simple as it. The plot of your story is the essence of your story, the through line. Strip away everything and all the subplots. What is it really about? Somebody trying to survive, somebody trying to live, somebody trying to save the planet, somebody trying to get the girl, whatever, win the competition, whatever it is. Okay. That is the plot of your story. Okay. Now, what you're going to do to create your story is you can plot your way through it, which is just a series of cause and effect. That's it. And the reason why I like to get to the conflict phase is because once conflict happens, there are things that are logically going to happen as a result of that. It's every day. That's why I look at the reality of everyday life. It's all plot. Now, typically your plots are going to be significant, but that's where your plot points come in, where they're significant events. Everything else is a plot from going from what happens, one happens next. For example, if I set my alarm at night and my alarm goes off in the morning, what am I going to do?
Get up.
Okay. Yes, get up, but is that alarm going to keep going off?
Yes,
You got to
until
turn
you
the
turn
alarm
it
off.
off.
Yeah, you got to turn the alarm off, but yes, you're going to get up. That's cause and effect. I set my alarm, I went to sleep, my alarm went off, I turned the alarm off, I got up. Cause and effect. What's the next thing you do? If anybody wants to talk, how many of you guys are talkers? If you're a talker, I'm just going to ask you a series of questions. Anybody want to talk? Not Mark.
Sure.
No, not Mark. Anybody else? Anybody else? Hey, Nigel. Okay, Nigel. Tell me about your day yesterday, if you don't mind. Whether it's work, school, whatever. Just in bullet points. What did you do from the moment you got up?
Okay. I woke up. I got some powders. I pour hot tea over it. Hot water over it. My fault. Um, I was telling my dad about a movie premiere, I'm Not Your Negro by James Baldwin. There was a special showing with a panel from a college. I went there. The tickets were sold out. I walked away. I went to Insomnia Cookies, got oatmeal raisin and a confetti cookie, and then I drove home. And then I cooked dinner. It was like a ground beef stir fry, and I went to bed.
Rock on, brother. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. He just told us a story, right? If somebody asks, how was your day? What are they going to respond? They're going to respond by telling you a story. They're going to communicate to you something for a purpose or a reason. Why do we tell stories like that? How are you? How are you doing? It's because it brings us together. That's the purpose. You know what I mean? We're, hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? With it, and we start to talk. It's connection. There's a purpose behind finding out about people's day, staying engaged with them or whatever. But if you notice what Nigel said, he woke up, he had some tea. Okay. Now, if you guys look at the cards, can you see my cursor moving around a little bit?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, cool. So if we started with Nigel and he's our character and we have card number one, I'm not trying to make this dramatic. I'm just saying this is how you plot through your story. Okay. Okay. If we have card number one, Nigel wakes up. Card number two, Nigel makes tea. So he's either in the kitchen or in the bathroom making tea. So yeah, so he makes his tea. He has a conversation with his dad. That's three cards right there because all these cards are, whether you use cards or not, I don't care. But all they are is you're going to write on there the general event that happened. Nigel wakes up. I don't even need to know what his room looks like. Okay. I don't need to know that at this point. I'm not going to bog myself down with any unnecessary detail. Okay. If he wakes up in his room, that's a good term. Nigel wakes up in his room. Nigel makes tea. Nigel talks to his dad. I don't even need to know what they talk about at this point. I don't even know where about dialogue. I don't need to know detail like that. What I need to know is a big picture of what is taking place in my story. He wakes up, he makes his tea, talks to his dad, goes to this thing, this festival. Was it a festival you said?
No, it's just like a
Or an
movie
artist?
premiere in
Oh,
a
a
park.
movie premiere. So he goes to the movie premiere and it's sold out. Okay, this is perfect. So it's sold out. So he goes to leave. Let me finish his. This is all you would do. If you're using the card, that's all you're going to do is right there. What is taking place? Because everything is about cause and effect. Cause and effect. Okay. So if I have to go, we're at the movie premiere. He doesn't get tickets. I can't remember what he said. Oh, got cookies. Got cookies. Oatmeal and confetti. Good. Got his cookies and then went home, cooked himself something, and went to bed. Okay, cool. We're on card number 8. Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Mark.
Isn't the fact that on card number 4, the film was sold out, isn't that a conflict? And you could move that to Act 2?
Let me just say this. In response to your question, you can make anything. So here, I wouldn't see the need for putting that in any type of conflict. It's just, something that happened throughout the course of the day. But you could also, if it suits your story, embrace it as some form of a conflict. It could be a precursor of what's going to be coming, like everything in his life is going to go wrong that day. I don't know. You know what I mean? But having a confetti cookie and a, what was the other one? Confetti
Oatmeal
and
raisin.
oatmeal raisin, right? Having those cookies makes your day better. So I wouldn't say that everything's going wrong, but all you're doing is plotting out these things. And I'm not trying to I'm just giving you an example of how you would move your story along. I'm not trying to say, oh, this needs to be an inciting incident. This is going to be that. However, this is how you can write stories about anything. Okay. I normally go to the dark side because it's easier. If you are a bright and happy person, I'm a bright and happy person, but I go to the dark side. Okay, so we did Nigel's events all the way up till 8. We're just going to write it down in simple form. Nigel wakes up. Nigel, has his tea, has a conversation with the dad, goes to premiere, sold out. Okay, that's all you would write on these cards. No detail. Okay, and you will read that. You can read that later. But going back up here to what Nigel's doing right now, we got card number 1, 2, and say he goes to the movie premiere and they're sold out, so he doesn't get to get in. And the inciting incident. No. Hook, a hook, because it does not directly impact him, or maybe it does. So this could be a hook or an inciting incident. A shooter goes into the premiere and he starts shooting up the movie that Nigel wants to go to. Okay. But Nigel's not there, clearly, because he couldn't get in. All right. That could be a hook as far as whatever. It could be an inciting incident if it's somehow connected to him. Maybe somebody he cared about was in there and they got killed and now it impacted him. That's an inciting incident because it directly impacted Nigel and it turned his world upside down. If a bunch of people got killed that were strangers, that's a whole different story. He would be like, oh, Trip, I was right there, or right there. What if, as he continued throughout this day, stuff like that happened everywhere? Like he left a trail of destruction, a trail of death, a trail of whatever. You see what I mean? You can go anywhere with any of our stories. Listen, your day that you had yesterday, this is storytelling. The day that you had yesterday, you don't have to make up nothing about it, right? Because it happened, right? Or wrong? Somebody, please answer my question. Yesterday,
That's right.
thank you. Yesterday happened. I can recount everything that happened to me. If I want to make a movie out of it, all I have to do is put an inciting incident in it. Yeah, let that sink in. Let's take Nigel's, for example. He was able, no. Okay, Nigel gets in and he tries to get into the festival or the premiere and it's sold out. But as he was walking back to his car, there was a scalper selling tickets and he bought a ticket. So he was actually able to get in. And now the shooter shows up and shooting up that place. And there's several of them in there. Several of them in the movie shooting them up. Nigel survives. He's in there, but there's just bodies and bleeding and all this other kind of stuff. But Nigel's still in there. Guess what? Nigel, what do you do next?
Try to survive, try to get out.
Okay, so we don't have specifics about the shooters. We don't have specifics about anything. But the reality is somebody pulled guns and starts shooting up. And there is going to be a natural response, a cause and effects that Nigel is going to respond to, even initiate, because he said it himself, I'm going to try to survive. You see? And so what Nigel, as a real person, now I'm seeing as a character, everything that's on the inside of him, what he was born with, his education, his knowledge, his experiences, all that stuff is now going to come into play with him being trapped inside this movie theater where people are looking for the remaining people that are still alive. Nigel wants to survive. He wants to get home to his daughter, you know what I mean? Or wants to get home to whatever. See? And so that's what so now he's up against this. Everything is cause and effect. Everything is just not just a plot, but now he gets to plot his way through the survival of this. Because at the same time, Nigel is laying there on the ground. Maybe another body is covered up from him so they don't see him right away. There's something still going on with the shooters. They're doing something, are they not? All right. There's something still going on with the other survivors that might be in there, are they not? Those are all the things that you need to take in consideration with your story. But now we're focused on him. So what happens? What happened next? Nigel moves that body off of him. He peeks up to see wherever he is. You know, maybe Nigel's got some experience behind him. Maybe he's a bad brother. You know what I mean? He's got some secret skills. We don't know that, right? And so he sees one of the attackers, one of the shooters alone, takes him out, gets the gun, and now he's like, everybody, come with me. Yeah, I'm being silly. But do you see, it's all a matter of, if there's a car accident on the road, what's going to happen next? Give me an example, make it quick, and just be brief. What happens? Two cars crash. What happens?
Car pile
It's
up.
not that major. Fender bender on the freeway, whatever, they pull over. What's going to happen next?
People around freak out.
Yeah.
Say again?
People around that place, in that place.
Oh, they're going to gather around?
Yeah, freak out. They start to freak out.
Okay, yes, people start to freak out. So, okay, let's make it a big car accident. Okay, there's a big car accident, boom, and the car's smoking. It's on fire. Oh my gosh, let's get the people out. All this can be a part of your story. It's just a matter of you incorporating it within your story, okay? What happens? What happens next? Rhett, smoke's coming out. There's people, one passed out behind the driver's seat, and there's a little kid in the back. Oh my gosh, now you got people running up. This is cause and effect. Plot. What happens? What happens next? Okay, got a bunch of people running over. They're trying to smash out the window. Blah, 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 blah. They're trying to get the mom out, dad out, whatever. They're trying to get the baby out, all this kind of stuff. Cause and effect. Has to happen. It's logical. It's reality. Now we get them out, whatever. Who's going to come? The ambulance is going to come. Who's going to come? The fire department's going to come. Somebody's getting taken away. Somebody might be dead. Somebody this and that, whatever. Those are all cause and effect, all the things that you can incorporate in your story. And listen, everything that kind of, you know, Nigel, when he was explaining about his regular day, most of our days, you and I, everybody, most of our days are pretty status quo. They're just average, mundane. They're just what we do. If we do something nice and go to a film premiere, that's cool, but that's most of our life, and it doesn't make a movie. And that's why we need to throw in stuff like our inciting incident. What's going to change this person's life upside down? Being in that theater is going to change his life upside down, especially when he was rejected for not having a ticket. Now he's going back because he managed to get a ticket. Maybe he wasn't supposed to go there in the first place. That's why it was sold out. But he's like, I got to get in here. And then something ends up happening. But everything, cause and effect. Now, once you get into here, obviously, I have 56 total cards. We have 56 total cards. Act 1, 14 cards for each act. Since Act 2 is the largest section, you have 14 and 14. And then the resolution, which is 14. Yeah, I feel so bad, you guys. I just start going off. But I'm hoping that you guys are starting to put these pieces together, because if you know your end, Nigel survives, and he got a honey on his hand too. Somebody fell in love with the hero, right? So that happened here. Now here's the final scene. This is just with Nigel. Guess what, Nigel? There's nothing wrong with this story. You're doing business as usual. Talk to your dad. You get up, you have your tea, this and that, whatever. In storytelling, as you're doing this, you're introducing us to elements of your character without necessarily just telling us. Writing your stories, if you're writing a book, you can show and tell and do all of that. If you're writing a screenplay, it's predominantly show, don't tell. You see, so excuse me. So Nigel can give us glimpses into who he is, or the writer. If I was writing this story, I would give glimpses into who Nigel is based on maybe pictures that I have in the wall. I can give glimpses into Nigel's family dynamics by pictures that I have on the wall. He's got pictures fishing with his dad. He's got pictures doing all kinds of stuff with his dad. What does that imply? He's got a great relationship with the dad, as far as if we wanted to imply that. I didn't have to say it, right? Hey, but what if you look in Nigel's room when he wakes up and there's karate belts hanging all on the top? I didn't have to say he's a karate master, right? Right? Right?
Right. Yep.
Okay?
Right.
Because I saw it. You dropped a clue on me. What if I saw something where he's getting his belt? He just got his black belt. You know what I mean? He's posing with his instructor, right? That's giving us a glimpse into who Nigel is without having somebody say, oh, I'm a martial arts instructor. So if I caught a glimpse of that in Act 1 in my setup, and when I finally get into the theater, obviously, when I get into the theater and I do all this bad stuff, wah, 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 and I jack these dude and take somebody's gun, it's not going to come as a surprise. Why? Because I introduced it earlier on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And it's all just cause and effect, guys. When we get to certain points, they are your plot points, which I explained yesterday, and they're in the workbook, so you learn about those, but they're your plot points that says this is something significant within your story, and it's going to change the course of your story. You see what I mean? And when these big conflicts happen, let me just give you an example of how really powerful, in my opinion, outlining, being able to see on the surface without getting bogged down by too much detail. If I had a conflict happen, if I had something significant happen on card number 25, something had to lead me there. If I'm here in my story and then I had something significant happen on 25, something else is going to happen on 26. It's just logical. It just happens. So all you literally have to do, you can be creative and you can go as far out as you want to go. But the reality is, something that happens is going to elicit the response or an action or reaction to cause that, or to not to cause that cause and effect, but to complete that cause and effect. So something that happens here should be able to be tied into 23 and whatever's going to happen in 25, whether that's directly Nigel or directly with the bad guys that are in the movie theater. You see what I mean? It's all plot, the whole thing. Now, when you get to these significant points that I had mentioned earlier on in the beginning, I mean, at our first session about your inciting incident, your hooks, your plot points, false victories, you just want to make sure that they're in there. Do you have to have them all? Not necessarily, no. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you are engaging your audience and getting the results you want. Oh, well, I don't want to have a false victory or false defeat. You could do whatever you want to do as long as you are engaging your audience. Well, I talk a lot in my writings, like Quentin Tarantino. He writes a lot of dialogue. That dude is beast mode. Beast mode. Don't care what nobody say. He's beast mode. Whatever. But he writes a lot of dialogue, which is what we encourage people not to do. Show, don't tell. People go to movies to watch a movie, not a talkie. But because he can engage people so well in his dialogue,
His
fair
writing
game.
Awesome.
His writing, it's fair game. You see? So you could do whatever you want to do as long as you're getting the results that you want. Okay? So you could do any number of things. You're plotting your way from the beginning of your story towards the end of your story, just simply keeping key elements in mind, which I wrote in the workbook, which you guys have access to. So if you can understand the surface that I'm showing you guys, as you take time to start getting more into the details of it, it's all going to just start clicking. Okay? Nigel, your entire day yesterday is the making of a movie, because for any character you have, their life is their life, and it is, no matter how exciting or how boring, it is their life. It is what it is. And it is right, and it is good, and it is sound. Why? Because this person is merely existing, and now you're throwing that inciting incident on them, and now we're seeing what happens with that character in response to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Your day yesterday is a movie. If you want to make it a movie, you never made it to work. You never made it to school. You pulled off for gas and, you know, something happened. I don't want to keep going dark. Y'all think I'm just a horrible person. But my point is, your regular day, what you can describe to a T because you see it every day, everything business as usual until that inciting incident happens. And that inciting incident is going to certainly bring out something because it's going to turn that person's world upside down. This is when you have a great opportunity to get to know who your characters are, or whether you're just telling them what to do in response to certain actions. You don't want that. You want that character dictating what they do. Sit down with them, spend time with them. So I guess this whole thing was pretty much on character development, but sit down with them. I'm serious. I go out to lunch with my characters, order something for them. Have them say, I don't eat that crap. You guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see what I'm seeing. You go in your room, this is just me. You go in your room, I flip those lights out, make sure nobody can hear me or see me, and I absolutely will become that character. Every character that I need. If I have a group thing, I'm talking like them, I'm slurring like them, I'm drooling like them, I'm drinking like them, I'm doing whatever. I am not Trevor no more. I am that character, and I got a little twang, I got a little whatever. Oh, that's how I roll. Look at me right now. I can step into a character's role in a heartbeat to give me an idea of who this person is, especially how they relate to other characters. You see?
Yes, sir.
Understood.
Okay, well, I'm having fun. I hope you guys are getting something out of this. I just burned up all your time, but this is a big on character development, guys. So this section, I would say this session is a lot on the character development aspect. Right now, guys, I want to free you guys up to ask any questions that you guys might have. I want to make sure that there is clarity, and some form of understanding on the stuff that I've talked about so far. And Avastar, if you don't have to go nowhere, brother, we can hang out and we could talk. But does anybody have any questions about the stuff that I covered? Act 3, I'm sorry I didn't even get in that. That's your resolution. Act 2, conflict. Just keep dumping. Seriously, this is surface. This is easy. You might say it's too easy, but it's true. Just keep dumping more and more conflict on your characters, okay? Until they can't breathe. And then dump more on them, okay? Then you're going to see what they're made of. Then you're going to see how creative they are getting out of that situation. So that's what conflict. Now you get into Act 3, that's your resolution. You're setting up for your final showdown with the antagonist, whether it's a physical antagonist or it's an internal antagonist, your depression, your the battle with alcoholism, the battle with whatever it is you're battling internally. People that don't feel that they are worth anything, have no value. That's when that stuff really starts to kick in. The person that has to win the race at all costs, but never won anything in their life. That's now he's going to rise up to face this final showdown, this final conflict. And that's where the resolution is going to happen, which is the climax, the final engagement, the final battle between good and evil, and the result of that, which is our resolution, going into our closing scene. So there we have our Act 1, our Act 2, Act 1 setup, our Act 2 conflict, our Act 3 resolution. If you look at this as a whole, don't worry about outlining if you don't want to outline, but just look at the elements in great storytelling, okay? And that'll be your foundation, and we'll add another layer onto that because you can always look at the workbook. You guys got time because we're not meeting again until next Tuesday. Now, does anybody have questions specifically in regards to something that I've talked about that you don't understand, that I just went too fast or just went crazy, and you want some clarification.
I have a question
Sure.
about shorts. And I'm
Uh-huh.
probably the most inexperienced of everybody on here. How does this the 3 acts that you have on screen, how does that I guess change when you have a short?
And how short is your short, Lori?
I don't have a short.
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
just
Okay.
I'm just thinking about different formats. And so I'm like, if
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
did want to try a short, what would that look like? That was question number one. And then question number two, are there any particular shorts or films, or novels or anything that you would recommend that really captures this
Essence
model?
of the structure.
This model.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll start with your first question. In regards to shorts, one, if you want to make this into a 30-minute, because if you notice, Act 1, your stories, no matter what, even if it's one page, Lori, is going to have a beginning, middle, and end. It's going to, no matter how short it is, it's going to introduce something, something's going to be done, and there's going to be a result. You see what I mean? So it will still have a beginning, middle, and end, no matter how short your short is. Okay. Specifically in regards to this layout is perfect for novels, feature films, and 1-hour television shows. You notice Act 1 is 14 cards, which is our setup. Act 2 is 28 cards because it's 14 and 14, which is our conflict. And Act 3, our resolution, is another 14 cards. Now, if I just halved all of them, okay, I still have the logical making, the makeup. If I just halved it, did 7 cards, then 14 and 7, then we're talking about me making a 30-minute TV show or a short that's about 30 minutes. I will recommend this. Don't do shorts that are 30 minutes, you guys. Don't do shorts that are 30 minutes. Okay, if you're going to do a short, make it a short. Make it 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 11 minutes. And the reason why you don't want to do that is because shorts typically are to showcase, whether it's for writing or showcase the producers or the directors or whatever, or it could be introducing and trying to get funding or trying to get something for a feature film. But you want to keep it as short as possible. 30-minute shorts are failed feature films.
Wow.
Okay. What's going to happen when you say, I want this in a festival? When that festival has an opportunity to show 5 shorts or just your 1 30-minute short, and they got people going into that theater and they're buying popcorn and soda 5 times versus showing your 1 30-minute short, they're going to pick the 5 movies that they can have over your 30-minute short. You see what I mean? It comes down to scheduling. It comes down to business. It comes down to money. You see what I mean? So if I have an 11-minute short, then I can say, oh, yeah, take my short. And they'd be like, cool, this is going to be played with another 2 movies. And now we have 3 shorts as opposed to just 1 30-minute short. Does that make sense? Okay. And so I will use an outline of shorts. I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. It has to be like over 15 minutes. It has to be about a 15-minute where I'm using cards. If it's less than that, it's pretty logical for me just to think beginning, middle, and end, and I can write my way through it. Obviously, all this stuff is not going to be incorporated within a short film project. Okay, you need to incorporate what elements will work in the best interest of your particular story. You see, so you won't be looking at it being like, okay, yeah, an inciting incident. Well, yeah, but it depends on what kind of story you're telling. Your hook, your inciting incident, your plot points. You're not going to have all those things, but if you can have a plot point in your 11-minute short, 13-minute short, then great, incorporate that in. You have your pinch points. The pinch points are where the antagonist, the bad guy, or your opposition, whatever it is pinching the protagonist. That's it. Not hard to remember. What is this pinch point? It hurts when you pinch somebody, you see? Or come up with your own thing. I call them who's your daddy moment. That antagonist is going to say, Who's your daddy? Twice in a feature film. So if it's a short, who's your daddy? Maybe once. Or if you want to do it again, do it twice. You see what I mean? You got to look at the balance of your story. And the reason why I particularly like to outline is because I can see a bird's eye view of everything without too much detail. I don't get worried about dialogue in when I'm doing my outline. I don't even really concern myself with too much detail at all. It's Nigel wakes up. Nigel makes tea. Nigel talks to his dad. You know, Nigel goes to the theater. You see what I mean? And then in our everyday mundane routine, we have to decide what to cut out, because that's the reason why people's life stories typically don't work, because most of our life stories are pretty straightforward, not something that people will pay to see. But I have like 5 feature films from elements of my life. One I was going to share, and I hopefully get a chance to share. If you guys are willing to come back and hang out with me, I mean, we can just, I'll be your mentor. If you guys are getting something out of what I'm doing, you have an instructor. You got somebody in your corner. You got somebody who you can ask questions to. I'm doing that on Legacy Street Academy. So look at the Facebook, the TikTok. I want to get to the point where I start doing live, because I honestly, it'll take me forever to record something to put on there, because I'm a perfectionist. So I will cut 15, 20 times to get what I need, and it takes up so much time. But when I'm forced to do it live, I just go. So if you guys want me to continue to teach you like all the time, join my Legacy Street Academy Facebook page, join the TikTok, the TLS Chronicles. That's what I'm really going to be pushing, because that's what I'm doing for myself and for my school. But anyway, if you got a short project, you're going to have to decide what elements to incorporate based on your story, your specific story. Okay. And as far as examples of you know, the application of this, or really shows this, any good movie you watch, have this out on a tablet or your phone or whatever, and you'll notice these specific things happen around the same time. Okay, go for it, Mr. Mark.
Not to overstep my bounds, but Lori, if you want to see a good short, I've got one on my website. It's also on Trevor's website. It's called Amy's Song, and it's at ihnfilms.org. And it's got pretty much all the examples that Trevor just talked about.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Rock on. So I would encourage you to watch stuff that you guys like. Yes, absolutely. Go check it out. Watch stuff that you like. See where these things come in. You see what I mean? Because they will impact and influence your storytelling. They absolutely will. And my encouragement, don't get caught up. Literally, don't get hung up in any of this stuff. Plot yourself along. Plot yourself along. You don't need to know the details about specifically what the house looked like. If somebody shot up the movie theater, I don't need to describe what kind of guns they used. Gunmen came in and did their thing. Now, when I get to that particular card, that's all my juices are flowing just in that one area, on that one card. And I'm seeing all the detail and what that theater looks like, what people look running around, what the gun muzzle flashes look like, all that stuff. All the detail will come out when I start writing. Right now, all I need is a frame, and then I'll go and add another layer when I write. Okay, so yes, but check out your big shows, check out your movies, check out your short films, and good ones, you know, good ones like that you recognize, something that you like to watch. Watch it, and you will see, oh, you should be able to identify these things. I'll just scroll right down here because it says them all. These 14 things here, okay? Well, why would you even put beginning of a story? It's obvious that you're going to have a beginning of the story. Just because you have a beginning of the story doesn't mean it's going to be good. Doesn't mean it's going to be a good beginning. You see what I mean? Oh, that's simple. Yeah, the beginning of your story. Awesome. We want to make that awesome. If you see, I always go dark. If you see a body laying there, oh man, there's a murder. Cops come out. That's awesome. Okay, cool. We see that. We typically see that. But what if there's a note in the dead body's hand? You know what I mean? Then that gets you curious as to what? What do you want to know? What do you want to know?
What the note says.
If you see a dead body sitting there and they're like, whatever, and maybe you in the audience notices it before even the cops realize that there's something tucked in this person's hand. And so they get their little tweezer things and they're trying to pry open the mortified fingertips. Boop, 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 boop. And that little piece of paper is hanging there and they're trying to unfold it and stuff just to where you're on the edge of your seat, want to know what that note says.
And
Come on. Just as an example, because yeah, we see it, we're interested, but now you got us kind of emotionally connected too. Like, you know, you got our curiosity going, not just because of the murder, but because there's communication going and you want to be involved in that communication. So there's a difference between just an opening and one that engages your audience. But no matter what you write, look at these things as opportunities for you to really just kill it. You know, you want to make sure that these elements, as many as you can incorporate in your story, are a part of your story, okay? Regardless of whether it's a long story or a short one. Okay, it's 1:07. I'm going to go ahead and just officially say it's been a pleasure. You guys rock. I love doing this, guys. If you cannot tell, I could talk all day about story, and I would love to do so. So if you guys can help me out, Legacy Street on Facebook, Legacy Street Academy on TikTok. I don't have anything on there right now because I'm a chicken. I've had pages set up forever, but I'm a chicken. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I frickin' don't want to get in front of that camera. But you guys can make it a little easier for me if you guys are learning and you say, Trev, I want to hear what you have to say. That would help me because now my focus is meeting with friends. I love seeing Mark Albaskar. You know, he's doing his own thing. I see him shooting stuff back there in India, man. I'm like, dude, I cannot wait till we can connect. But if you're learning from me, I would love to continue to do this. But, oh yeah, I'm a chicken, but I'm figuring out, I do things to overcome those obstacles. My character, you see what I mean? I'm the type of person that hides behind everything. When somebody say, hey, Trevor, we want you to come sing. You know what I'm doing? I'm bringing a group. Why? Because I don't want you focusing on me. I hide behind the piano. Oh, Trevor, I thought you were leading. Yeah, I'll lead from behind the piano, and then I'll recruit 3 singers that'll stand up there in front. Look at them. I don't like that. I don't like that. You see what I mean? That's why this is perfect. I don't want to walk the red carpet. I want you to walk the red carpet and say, you know what? That dude at Legacy Street Academy said, you know, that he cares about me and my success, and he proved it. He showed it. You see what I mean? The only thing I ask of you guys, please, is help me spread the word. You know what I mean? I don't charge. There'll never be a charge for any of the stuff that I do in my group classes. And I want to do these 24/7. I want to have a full-time Legacy Street Academy where classes are offered at least 5 days a week. Doesn't mean necessarily that I'll be teaching, but I'm bringing on other instructors to teach different things. The things that I can teach, I will teach. You want to learn guitar? I'll teach you guitar. You want to learn piano? I'll teach you piano. You want to learn self-defense? Oh, I'll teach you self-defense. See, I can do all that stuff. So I want to have a full-time school, and you guys can help me to do that by spreading the word. If you see a post and you say, hey, if you really legitimately got something, say, hey, this dude really teaches in that class. It's not just tips and tricks and trying to sell you on something.